Quap, thanks so much for sitting down with Yosemite Conservancy.
Thanks for having me.
So to start off, tell me a little bit about yourself and how long you've been in the park, sort of what you do here.
My name is Quap Moretz. I have been in the park now, I think for 9 years. A couple different jobs during that time. But yeah, 9 years. And the main majority of my employment here is an environmental science educator with NatureBridge.
And what brought you here to be an environmental science educator?
Before working for this, for NatureBridge, I was working for a company Outward Bound in the Southeast, doing exclusively programming with at-risk youth funded through the Department of Juvenile Justice. I'd had that job for about 3.5 years and ascended to the point where it was either stay in the field or move into the office. And I didn't want to move into the office, and I wasn't burning out at the job, but the job was so intensive and so much trauma, I guess, involved with the population that we were working with that I found it getting a little too much after 3.5 years of it. And my friend Boutique, who lives in Norway, he suggested his internship with NatureBridge. And he said specifically, I remember him being like, you don't really know much about science, but you got a lot of outdoor leadership skills. So they might accept you for this internship called the Educator Development Program. And at the time I was signed up to be a boat captain in boat captain school in Tequesta, Florida. And the internship was 7 weeks long in Yosemite over the summer. And I said, well, that sounds pretty cool. I've never been to Yosemite before. And I applied, interviewed, and they called me back. And Kim Liza, she was like, you're actually overqualified for the internship. Would you like to re-interview for the job? I said, sure, I have no idea if I'll get it, but we did a shorter interview. Called me back like an hour later. The job's there if you want it. I thought about it. I talked to my parents overnight, and my dad specifically was like, listen, your car runs good, you don't have any kids, you don't have any debt. You've always wanted to move to California. This might be your chance. And so I called her back at like 8 a.m. the next day, and I said, yeah, of course, let's go. Across the country in 2.5 days, nonstop driving with my friend. And yeah, been here ever since.
You've never been to Yosemite before?
Well, it's interesting I say that because I don't have any memory of coming to Yosemite. Mm-hmm. Apparently I was when I was like 12.
Okay.
According to some family photos that my sister dug up, but I think I was just in the back seat of the rental car, like listening to Blink-182. Just kind of zoned out. I was doing a lot of stuff in California at the time. I had a wealthy aunt at the time who lived in San Francisco, so she would fly us out every summer. And yeah, I'd been here, but honestly, I don't remember. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even have any memory of the photos I'm in. Apparently, I was at Badger Pass. I don't know. My mom says that. I don't know if it's true. But no, for all intents and purposes, I had no idea. I had to Google like photos. So I just Googled photos of El Portal in Yosemite, and I said, oh, it looks like the idyllic West. Yeah.
Awesome. So you have been an educator then for 9 years. What do you love about the job? And from our previous conversations, you said you wanted to stay as an educator. What makes you want to stay in that position?
Yeah, totally. So my first year or two, I wasn't really sure about the job. I knew I enjoyed it enough that I like going to work every day, but I was so used to being on an expedition with Outward Bound, paddling 200 to 400 miles per course, doing intense social work, that when I got here, I think I was just trying to do that job here, and it wasn't really working. And I was still living at the hotel residence at the time, and a previous Yosemite Conservancy employee, Ryan Kelly, came down and asked me how I liked the job. And I said, it's okay. And he goes, well, I said, I think I might have been like, it's good. And he's like, I don't believe you. And he goes, what's going on? So I explained to him. And he goes, here's the thing, man, like, try to do the job for more than a year or two. It's a really cool job, but it takes kind of a while to open up. It takes a while to fall in love with. And based off those words and the respect I had for him, I said, sure, man, that's cool. I mean, I moved my whole life here, you know, like I don't want to just like go back to Florida, you know, if I don't have to. And halfway through my third year, I woke up one day and I said, I think I can do this forever. Like, this is incredible. I completely changed my pedagogy, how I was approaching it. And yeah, kind of just, I guess the years have kind of melted by in the best way possible. I enjoy the work so much that I just like teaching. I found out I had good teachers growing up, and I really admired them. And I think what Keith wants me to stay in educators, I think kids need good teachers. And I don't think I'm a great teacher, but I think I'm a good one. I think I got a decent handle on how to manage a group, kids' emotions when they're engaged, how to engage them. And I don't know, the office, it's just not for me. You know, I don't want to manage other adults. I like working with kids. It's what a cool opportunity. And here in Yosemite National Park, and it's like the best classroom. I was trying to describe it to my friends. I was like, imagine if like, Yosemite Valley is kind of the size of Central Park. And I was like, imagine you just get to like, this is kind of like my New York. Like, I don't want to live in New York. It's too crazy. But here I get like this giant classroom and I get to come to every day. And every day it's different with the weather and the conditions, and every week is different with the students. So it presents unique challenges constantly. Really like the physicality of it. I like feeling the seasons. And yeah, I think I could do it for a long time. And I'd like to do it for a long time. Obviously, I sacrifice some salary. I work for a nonprofit as a teacher. But it doesn't really matter to me. I love the job so much that I don't really think about that stuff too much. I just like coming to work every day. And I think so few adults have that in their lives. That I feel really lucky. I feel really blessed in that sense that I get to wake up every day, 6 a.m. and be like, oh yeah, I get to do basically my favorite thing every day, which is teach kids cool science and leadership. And what I think is probably the best like classroom I could have as an outdoor educator. My godfather, he came and visited me. He's like, well, you're basically in Shea Stadium. He's like, it doesn't get any better than this. Where are you going to move and do this kind of work? And I told him, I was like 2 or 3 years in, and I was like, I think I'm going to be here for a while, actually. And I still feel that way. I had a group 2 weeks ago, and yeah, just incredible. I remember driving home after the evening program, the closing activity, smiling like the Cheshire Cat. And it's cool to still feel that way after a long time. I kind of worried if it would, that feeling would ever fade, which you never know. It could, it might not, but it hasn't in a long time. And it's only gotten deeper, really, my interest in the work and my enjoyment of the park and the community, I'd say. Yeah.
Are there things that push you or inspire you as an educator from your previous life working in Outward Bound, or, you know, in your young age that you bring into your programs or into your education here in the park?
Yeah, completely, Cory. In high school, I admittedly was not a great student. I went to a really prestigious public school called Dreyfus School of the Performing Arts. I was there for electronic music production and videography. But I was probably like the poorest kid at the school since it was a performing arts high school. And I was talented, but I didn't feel at home. I felt poor every day, honestly, to be real with you. So I started skipping school. And by 11th grade, I guess I was truant. I wasn't coming to school enough. And the summer from junior year, 11th grade to 12th grade, my dad woke me up on my birthday in April and he said, listen, I've been saving up for like 5 years to take your mom to Europe. We got $5,000 saved, but you're having a hard time right now. You're not struggling with like drugs or alcohol, but you just like don't go to school. You just skip school and go to the beach. And we don't think there's anything fundamentally wrong with you, but we do think we need to get you out of this concrete jungle. So he laid 8 different NOLS courses, National Outdoor Leadership courses. And he said, you're going to do one of these this summer, so you get to choose which one you get to do. And immediately I was like, why am I being punished? Blah, 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 blah. Just being an angsty 16-year-old. And yeah, I ultimately chose the glacier climbing course in North Cascades, simply because it was the hardest and it kind of looked the coolest in the brochure. And I was like, I think I just seen K2. that'll maybe about Everest. And I'm from like South Florida. I have no idea. So I flew out there all by myself, and it was really the ultimate sacrifice by my parents. I don't come from a working class family. My dad's a carpenter. Mom's an antique dealer. And yeah, throughout that entire month, I was so pushed and so challenged. And I remember, God, we were on like day 7, and we were supposed to hunker down for camp on a ridgeline, and weather was going to move in. We were doing an Iron Chef thing, and our instructor is Nadine, and I think it was Paul. Could be getting his name wrong. They're like, all right, we got to pack up. We got to like move up 2,000 feet. So we all packed up our stuff like 4 p.m. And we're on 3-person rope team, ice axes, crampons, and it's pitch dark at this point. It's 8:30 at night, no dinner, just trudging up blindly and up like Glacier Peak. And I remember something happened in that moment because I was struggling on the course. I was like really, really struggling, physically, mentally, psychologically. And like in that night, I remember stopping. I was in the middle of a person. I couldn't see the person on my rope team in front of me or behind me. And something just something awakened in me. And I was like, oh, this is why I'm here. Like, I love this. I love hard, challenging stuff. And that kind of like emerged in my personality at that moment. And I think I got like a C+ on the course. I don't think I was like the best student. I think there was bias probably because everybody else was like already good at mountaineering. And I was just like, yeah, I just like to go surfing with my friends, go to house parties. And yeah, I came home from that and everything had changed. Like kind of everything. I didn't skip class anymore. I got probably 3.8 senior year. Even my teachers were all calling my parents and like, listen, Quap's a nice kid, but he didn't really show up, and now he's just here all the time. And yeah, so I got into community college, moved 8 hours away, and I had a really cool recreation studies teacher, Joanne Rogers. And even though I'm not like religiously affiliated, I would volunteer with her at her church selling hot dogs. And she was great. And then I graduated that in like 4 years 4 years because I was going to school and working, and got into Florida State University for recreation. God, what was it? It was recreation management through the School of Education. And I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to meet all these people who love doing the outdoors. And it was funny. It turned out to be a bunch of wedding planners. So it was like being like 45 women and like 4 dudes who like were on the tennis team because it was an easy major. And I was kind of disenfranchised because I was doing like facilities layout and stuff. And I was like, I thought I was going to be turning on how to tie knots. And but I secured an internship at Wakulla Springs State Park, where I was working as a park specialist intern. I told everybody park ranger. It sounded more official. And there, I forget the gentleman's name, but I met him. And I was telling him I don't really like this because I'm just kind of just building trails by myself all day. And through our conversation, it tied back to Knowles, and he's like, yeah, you should just get an outdoor education, man. I think there's an Outward Bound base in Florida. And I was like, yeah, I heard Outward Bound's kind of like Knowles. And I applied as I was graduating, and they turned me down. They're like, listen, our main activity is canoeing. You canoe hundreds of miles per year and kayak hundreds of miles per year on your own, but you don't work with kids. You never worked with kids, so we can't offer you the internship. I said, thank you. And I immediately got a job at the Boys and Girls Club. Well, it's like a city one, the John McLean Community Center. And I worked with kids doing homework, teaching them how to play basketball. And then 9 months later, I reapplied. I said, hey, I worked on it. I went and worked with kids. And they're like, oh, it's great. Thanks for responding to feedback. And they gave me an internship. And I did the internship. Again, there's a trend here. I wasn't very good. I wasn't bad, but I honestly, I'd only worked with kids for like 9 months. And I told them I'll stay on for 6 more months. Usually after the internship, you just got to go. And I said, listen, I'll stay on for 6 more months. I'll work for free. And if you give me an opportunity to get on another course, I'll do logistics work. I don't care. I just want to be here. They said, for free? I said, yeah. So I did that. They put me on another course in the Everglades. I had really good leadership from a guy named Lee Gibbs on that trip. And yeah, I passed with flying colors. They were like, I don't know why this guy didn't pass the other course. And then I started there as an assistant instructor and just kind of fell in love with that work. the outward bound base doesn't exist anymore, but it was an outward bound base since 1975, and they were only funded by the Department of Juvenile Justice. So we only work with students who were referred to the program by the justice system or an affiliate, like a principal at a school that saw kids struggling. And I think it was a really good landing spot for me to get into it, because I was kind of those kids. Like, I was those struggling kids. If somebody had just known about this program, I could have really benefited from it as well, as the Knowles one. So when I'm working with that population, it just felt at home, and I felt like the kids could see me and I could see them, and they knew I had lived experience similar to theirs, and I really liked the job. And I got just soaked in every ounce of information I could on outdoor education and the pedagogy of it. I just fell in love with, I love the state of Florida. I love canoeing. And I love working with kids on how to be a better person to their community, their friends, themselves, and their loved ones. I still get to do that here in a big way. Like, I kind of just, I don't do the same things, but I do it with the same energy and the same spirit. And I think that kids need somebody that they can like see themselves in. I'm not like Colton from Utah. No disrespect to Coltons or anybody from Utah, but I'm not that guy. I'm
Right.
Quap from Lake Worth, Florida. You know, I'm like, and I think because of that, because I'm a bit of a fish out of water in a sense. I like basketball, like UFC, like rap music and punk. I don't really like folk music or wearing chacos. I don't like any of that stuff particularly. Not against it, it's just not my thing. And I think kids can kind of see that in me and maybe see themselves in me a little bit.
I think that is so true. And I love the story too, because I think that about the transformative experience at Knowles, or, you know, the transformative experiences with kids going on Outward Bound. So many of the community members here in Yosemite have that experience. That, like, they came to Yosemite for the first time, or they went and did an outdoor program for the first time, or had an educator like yourself that they saw themselves in and said, oh, I can do something like that. Do you see that with the students that you connect with, because they can relate to you? Do you see transformative experiences happening with Nature Bridge?
Yeah, completely. Nature Bridge gives me a really cool opportunity to work with a lot of different populations across California and sometimes across the nation. And most of the students that we serve don't come from outdoor communities. They come from more urban communities like the one I was raised in. And I absolutely think there's some kind of, no other way to put it than like The Shining. There's like a shine going on. And yeah, I see transformative experiences all the time. I don't always get to see them because they're here for a week. So, you know, hopefully they take their experience here and bring it back to where they're from, and the thoughts and the feelings and the way their eyes could be open to the outdoor world here. Similar to how mine were when I was in Washington State in Cascades National Park. Yeah, absolutely. I can't think of a better opportunity for any kid out there than to come to Yosemite National Park for a week of environmental education. Like, what a cool opportunity. We're limited, probably in a good way, of how many people we can hire and how many we can house due to the local housing situation, which is good. I don't think we should get that big as a company. But I sure think there should be a lot more similar to it. There really aren't. You know, you got I've done deep research on the industry, and basically have like summer camps and then like expedition schools like Knowles and Outward Bound, with this residential environmental ed that isn't like station based like it is in a lot of outdoor places. We just get to like the autonomy of walking around Yosemite National Park, this valley specifically, and just getting to use this as our classroom. It's just such a rare situation, in my opinion, and I think the students and the educators benefit from that.
To switch gears a little bit, I think one thing that is so loved about you in the Yosemite community is that you bring community together through all sorts of different events. Not only with your music, I know that you've DJ'd for weddings here, for community gatherings at the community centers, but also you organize sports like gatherings for ultimate frisbee or other sporting events to get people together. Talk to me a little bit about sort of what drives you to bring community together.
Completely. So my whole life I've been a musician. I started with punk rock music, and now I kind of spend most of my time just writing whatever I want to, whether it be synth pop or anything. And then I never really was like a DJ before moving here, and I realized that we had this thing called Sal's Night, and there wasn't really any music unless there was a live band. So I volunteered to do a DJ set, and I was like, "I'll keep it cool. Just do a funk one. Everybody likes funk music." So I did that, and it went well. And I've continued to do it, I guess, for the last 9 years. Whenever there isn't live music being played, I think everybody thinks they have a good taste in music. You know, I think that's like everybody thinks what they listen to is the best. So I'm not unfailable to that. But I really try to keep it in mind. And when I'm DJing, I'm not just playing music that I want to hear, but I'm playing music that people can, kind of everyone can enjoy. The different times of the night. So I know, like, I usually start at 7 to 8 is kind of family friendly. There's some country, there's some folk music, and then like 8 to 9 more like indie pop, that kind of stuff, current event music. And then 9 to 10, I usually just try to throw down like crazy dance music. And I think I guess people have told me that they need that here. Like it's important that people like get wild, dance, and go crazy. And luckily, I have a decent taste in music according to the community, so I keep getting invited back to do it. As far as ultimate frisbee, that's kind of another story of like fish out of water. I really love playing basketball. It's my number one sport that I love. And for like my first 4 years, I couldn't get anybody to play with me. I would just literally just shoot hoops every day after work. And Tony Tate would come out and talk with me. Love Tony, good guy. We would talk. And I was like, how can I get people to play sports with me in this community? Because I don't enjoy rock climbing. I think it's okay. It's cool for other people. I tried for years to get into it, but it's just not my thing. I don't know. Not everybody can do everything. And I literally Googled, like, what is the number one sport at liberal arts colleges? Because that seems like everybody around here at the time went to. And it said ultimate frisbee. So I went to Walmart and I bought a frisbee. And I put up a post on the old Facebooks. And like 3 people showed up. Merle Kristaps, I think her last name is. And we just started playing catch because there wasn't enough people. And then like after weeks, every week would show up. Wednesday night, Tuesday night. And people the word slowly spread. And it's kind of grown into something bigger than me. Melissa Stellers has been super instrumental. She's a professional ultimate frisbee player that lives in the community and really helped me understand ultimate frisbee. I had no idea. Like, I'm just like Googling the sport. Turns out I really like it. It's kind of just like playing football, but you don't get hurt. And I think one thing that's really important is that ultimate frisbee is for everybody. At least that's the way I view it here. And I'm really conscious of it not turning into like some broed out machismo, just situation. And I have to police it sometimes because it can delve into that. I really want it to feel like everybody can play. We've had people, I think our age ranges have been from like 55 to 7 years old. There's a kid named Felix. I think his dad is Brian. He's a lead on forestry. And it's like 7-year-old kids started coming out and wanted to play. And we were like, yeah, for sure. And people were kind of hesitant at first, like, yeah, guys, it's for everybody. Like, people were guarding him really heavy. And I was like, yo, take it easy. 7 years old. You guys are all like 28. And it's kind of cool just to have that like opportunity to share something in the community. I never envisioned myself as an ultimate frisbee player. I kind of still don't. I'm not the fastest, not the strongest. But I try to bring smiles, and like, we got jerseys. Somebody donated. They're youth soccer jerseys. They're like pennies. It helps make it more official. Sometimes people bring food to share. And as somebody who works for Nature Bridge, it's a good way for me to meet community members outside of my work. I love my coworkers; they're all wonderful people, but I felt the need to make friends outside of it. And organizing a sports weekly event gave me an opportunity and a platform to make friends in a different way. All right, I'll trick people and be like, thanks for letting me trick you into being your friend. But yeah, it's super cool to be involved and in two different spaces and like it bring people together. I guess I never really thought about it, Cory, until now.
Well, Quap, thanks for excuse me. Quap, thanks for spending some time with us today. Last thing before we leave, where can some people find your music?
I'm on Spotify. It's Quap Cousteau, just like Jacques Cousteau, Q-U-A-P-C-O-U-S-T-E-A-U. I'm on Spotify. I make a lot of I make music videos and short films on YouTube. Same name, Quap Cousteau. Yeah, check it out if you want. I like doing it. I'll probably do it even if nobody was watching. I think I'd still do it. It's just kind of more fun than watching TV for me. And thank you for this opportunity, man. This is a cool thing. I was nervous, but now that I'm talking, I feel a lot better. I feel confident in what I do, and I feel confident in my purpose here. Yeah, just thanks, man.
Well, and you're appreciated for it. That's why people nominated you. So yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being part of this community.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully for a long time, brother.
Perfect. Awesome.
Cool.